What is up? What's good? Welcome in to the OnlyBets Sports Podcast with Stern Bets. Doodle looking on the Prince of Picks. Boy, have we got an action-packed weekend of sports here coming up over the next few days. Of course, we've got the WNBA in action, PGA Tour, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, European Soccer, UFC, big boxing fights. You name it, we've got it as we are starting to enter towards the prime time of sports once again. We're just a few weeks out from week 0, I believe, in college football. NFL preseason is going to be starting here pretty soon. So lots of sports here coming up on the horizon over the next couple of weeks here. This weekend is when we start to get really into the prime time of it all here. So excited to cover what we have here in store over the next few days. Let me bring in Stern. Good morning, Stern. Happy Friday. How you doing, brother?
Good morning indeed. Looking forward to finishing off the week strong. I went 1-1 yesterday. Red Sox won, but not by 2. They only won by 1. They did hit against the bullpen, but well done for the Athletics being able to manage the early part of that game. Then we cashed the 2-leg parlay, Nationals Braves over 7.5. I think they had 9. I think that was a 5-4 game. And then the Marlins Mets, I think there was only 4 or 5 runs scored in that one. So the under 9.5 cash. So 1-on-1 day, not my best, but looking forward to seeing what today brings. How did you do yesterday?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice little bounce back for me here. In terms of the show picks, we went 2-1. We did miss in our WNBA play. We had the Liberty plus 11 that covered, but we also had the Toronto Tempo plus 18. They got absolutely destroyed. They lost by 32 at home to Minnesota. So 18 points wasn't enough. Unfortunately, we lost that parlay, but we did cash out on our ASEAN Cup plays. Both of those cashed out. We had Singapore plus 2 on the Asian spread. That ended up cashing with a 0-0 draw. Then we also had Timor-Leste and Indonesia under 5 goals. That cashed as well as it finished just 3-0 for Indonesia. So we are on a current 8-1-1 run in the ASEAN Cup right now. So absolutely destroying this tournament. Like I've said before, I love the international slums of football. And this is the definition of that. So once again, no surprise to those of you who've been following me for a while. We tend to crush these tournaments, and we are absolutely doing that again. 90% undefeated rate in the ASEAN Cup. So looking forward to continuing that again tomorrow as we're going to have more action Saturday morning in the early hours.
Yeah, and also shout out Brian went 2-0 on his matchups yesterday, so definitely worth checking out our Wednesday episodes. I believe Drew is with us now. Yuri Perez, well done. Yeah, that's a nice little streak you got going there. Drew, how did you do yesterday?
Yeah, Yuri Perez over 17.5, and it was shaky when he got into the sixth inning because he only had like 69 pitches and he struggled in the sixth inning, but they let him finish it out. But yeah, I've been doing pretty well overall this month before July ends, but I hit my last 3, I believe, in a row. So I hope we continue it again.
Yeah, let's finish this week strong going into the weekend. Where are you going for your play today?
Actually, I'll let you go ahead and go first because I was double checking these boosts that DK has. And also to people, DK is offering a lot of all purpose boosts for MLB. I think they're doing it because MLB is really like the main sport right now. So take advantage of those all purpose boosts. But I'll let you go first.
So happy they're limiting me on those boosts. It's really frustrating. But yeah, I got a good play today. It is Happy Paul Skeens Day, and I couldn't love the Pirates more today. They're in a really good spot, and we have 2 teams going in opposite directions. Pirates are playing the Reds. I think this goes off at 9:40 tonight. But the last couple months, when you're looking at the 2 teams, they're really on the 2 ends of the spectrum. Pirates are ranked 8th over the last couple of months offensively in weighted run creation. Sorry, they're ranked 4th in weighted run creation offensively. On the bullpen, they are ranked 8th. The Reds, meanwhile, at home ranked 26th in offensive production and 28th in the bullpen. What else can we say about Paul Skeens? He is Paul Skeens. He is coming off an outing where he gave up 5 runs, and that is exactly when I want to back him. He is a young phenom. The underlying metrics are elite, and I don't really think that the Reds are going to be able to hang on for too long. For the Red side, we do have Hunter Green, who profiles phenomenally. Pirates have a bad strikeout rate. They rank like 24th in the league, at least over the last couple of months in their strikeout percentage. But Hunter Green has not been himself exactly coming back from injury. He just gave up 6 earned runs to St. Louis, given up multiple runs in 3 of his last 4 games. Yeah, sure. Do I think that he can bounce back? Yeah. Do I think that he's going to go very long into this game? No, I don't think so. And even if he does pitch well, I think he's going to be out of there by the 5th or 6th inning. And then get to face the Reds bullpen at home, which they have not been good. I mentioned before, they are ranked 28th over the last couple of months in underlying metrics. So yeah, do I see the Reds maybe being competitive for half this one? Yeah. Do I think the Pirates get it over on them? 100%. Minus 125 on the money line is way too good of a price for a Paul Skeens day. Drew, how do you feel about this one?
Oh, I love it. I think it's yeah, I completely agree with you. And when it comes to, of course, Paul Skeens, yeah, I don't. He'll probably pitch 5 or 6 innings and stuff, but I expect him to do well this game.
Yeah, something to keep in mind, and I don't know how this is going to affect different pitchers, but for instance, like the Reds, they're not really in the playoff race. They're going to be giving up soon. And the trade deadline is coming out. So they do need production from some of these premium trade pieces, and I would 100% agree that Hunter Green is a part of that conversation. So this is really his second or last chance to really prove his value and boost it before the trade deadline. But still, I don't think that he is even comparable to Paul Skeens right now, and I'll take the value there. Prince, any thoughts on Paul Skeens day?
No, but I love playing anything that you have for Paul Skeens. Of course, we've talked about it many times. Always a good bet when you're betting when he's on the mound.
100%. Also, sneaky Pirates team this year. I think they really have a chance to do something, at least make it to the playoffs. I think they're battling it out right now for the last wild card spot. I forget off the top of my head who they're battling it out with, but I think they're a sneaky team to really do something. Their rotation is phenomenal. It's great. It's coming together really nicely. They have some nice young arms, Bubba Chandler. They have, obviously Paul Skeens and a few other pieces. Their bullpen is ranked top 8 in all of baseball right now. I listen, if it breaks down over the last couple of months, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they actually make a solid run into the playoffs. Just going to put it out there. All right, Drew, we're ready for your play. What do you got?
Yeah, something else about Hunter Green. He's when like fully healthy, he's a great pitcher. He just can't stay healthy, and that's why I think one of the reasons that Reds do want to trade him. And it's just frustrating because he has all the talent in the world, and there's always seems something wrong with him. But I would say my play is, and I know guys here it's a lot of juice, but it's insane value to me on DK because on Fanatics it's like minus 205. But Dylan Cease over 7.5 and minus 167. Use boost when you can. I recommend definitely playing this because Dylan Cease has been an absolute workhorse recently. I kind of don't know what Vegas is doing because before this recent 4 game stretch, he's been pitching like 5 or 2 innings, 5 innings, sometimes 6, but they're allowing him to go 100 plus pitches regardless. His last game, he had a complete game shutout against the Red Sox. And July 25th, he had 120 pitches, and he's going to have 5 full days of rest. And you would think 120 pitches, they're going to monitor him. No, they haven't, because the game before that, he pitched 6 innings and with 101 pitches. Before that, 8 innings with 118. Before that, 7 innings with 102. The Blue Jays have not had consistency outside of Dylan Cease and sometimes Trader Savage of their starting rotation, and their bullpen has been overworked consistently because of that. And we're talking about a pitcher who actually has cut down on the walks relatively. He used to be walking like 4 or 5 people. The last 4 games, he's only averaged like 2 walks per game. He's a strikeout machine. Last 12 strikeouts, 7, 11, and 9. And he is one of those guys where if he's in the groove, he can strike out anybody. Honestly, I think on anybody's side, he's facing a young Cardinals team who can strike out quite a bit, and they're playing in Rogers Center. I would say relatively a stadium that he is very comfortable with since joining there. He's playing like the A's. I know the Blue Jays record is not the best, but since the AL is kind of, like weaker in a way to where it's more even to where teams are closer because everyone's just beating each other up, and like the NL is very top heavy to where they need their ace Dylan Cease to go at least 6 innings or so. And I just think getting this at this value, especially with somebody who pitched a complete game last game, then 6, 8, and 7 his last 4, and not to mention the last time we bet on him, he was at home and he covered it against the Rays. So give me Dylan Cease over 17.5.
I love it. I do. Dylan Cease is projecting as an elite arm. Yeah, sure. His 10.5% walk rate isn't elite in any which way. Actually shows a little bit of vulnerability there, but you're looking at a 36.5% strikeout rate. That is beyond elite. Beyond 28% and up is considered, I believe, elite. 36.5% is incredible. His whiff rate's at over 35%. The barrel rate's at 5%. The hard hit rate's at 32%. There's nothing in this man's repertoire right now that says I'm not backing him. You know what? Let's make a live play right now. Not a live play, but let's make a show play right now. I'm going to take a no-run first inning in the Cardinals-Blue Jays game, parlayed with the Pirates-Reds game. There is a boost on Caesars right now, and you can get this at plus 190. I think there's a really solid value. What say you, Drew?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the only person I would worry about is because of Kyle Lehigh. Uh, he's off and on. He's done a little better, I think, recently, but also the Blue Jays offense has been very stagnant. So you would need some miracle offense from them.
Yeah, I'm going to double check the numbers here, but I don't think the Blue Jays are really that great at hitting runs in the first inning. I'm going to go
Yep,
double check that right now, but I'm
I'm pretty sure you're right.
pretty sure they're ranked in the bottom like 3 or 4 of the league overall. Hold on, I'm going to get this for you right now. I'm on Fangraphs. If you guys don't know Fangraphs, it is phenomenal. Go to the splits leaderboard and you can literally search for almost any and everything that you can possibly want to find out. All right, let's search for Toronto. Ranks 19th for the season. They are playing at home, so let's split this at home. Toronto, where are you? Sorry, guys, doing this live. They rank 16th with WRC of 129, which is actually not terrible, but it's not top of the league. So definitely some value there. And if you're looking for Kyle Leahy, let's find Kyle Leahy. He ranks 60th among qualified pitchers in underlying metrics in the first inning, 369 to a 296 FIP. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. It actually shows that he is pitching slightly better than expected, but he is doing pretty well, and he is working himself out of jams. Looks like to me, the later the game goes, the more hittable he is. But definitely some value on the no-run first inning because I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to get one on Cease. So you're really just looking for 3 outs from Leahy. I think there's value at plus 190. Definitely sprinkle a little bit, you know?
No, I definitely agree with that.
Sorry, shouldn't have done all that work on the show live. Definitely not the most fun probably to listen to. All right, Prince, any final thoughts on the MLB? Then I'll go to Drew and we can walk it off to the W.
No, I'm ready for the W.
Drew, any final thoughts on the MLB? Any questions? I kind of went crazy. If you guys are following my articles, I kind of have picks all over the board.
No final thoughts from me.
All right, Prince, let's go to the W, man.
Yep, so we're going to the W. We got 3 games tonight, but I'm going to go back to a pick that has been a very reliable pick for us. Old reliable is what I'll call it here. When we've given this play out, it's hit in 4 of the last 6 plays. Times that we have given it out, it has hit. So we're going to go back to the well here. Angel Reese, 10 plus rebounds, parlayed with Caitlin Clark, 2 plus threes. If you get it boosted on FanDuel, you can get it up to minus 150. And again, that's about the limit for me in terms of what kind of plays I'll give it on the show. Minus 150 is about my cap there. But I like this play a lot. We're looking at Caitlin Clark. She's averaging 2.7 threes per game. This season, she has cleared 2 plus threes in 4 of her last 5 games. Then for Angel Reese on the other side, averaging 11.5 boards per game. She as well has cleared 10 plus rebounds in 4 of her last 5 games as well. So both of these players here in form in terms of what we're looking for. I like their matchups here. The Dream at home taking on the Seattle Storm, of course, one of the worst teams in the W. Then the Fever taking on Portland Fire, who both of these teams here are middle of the road in terms of defending a 3-point shot in Portland and then rebounding for Seattle. So I think we have favorable matchups for two superstars in Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So we'll go back to the well here. Angel Reese, 10 plus boards. Caitlin Clark, 2 plus threes. Boosted on FanDuel, comes in at minus 150.
What's not to love? I mean, like you said, this is good old reliable. Like Caitlin Clark is going to get hers, and so is Angel Reese.
If it
Any
ain't
other
if it
look-
ain't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, no, sorry.
No, 100%. I mean, and the times that it hasn't cashed, it's been like 1 or
Yeah.
2 rebounds
Like
for,
one,
you know.
it's been sorry, it's been Angel Reese. It's her. She. I think the 2 times she had like 9 rebounds. So I mean, we're that close from like a 6-0 sweep. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, something really important about these games, definitely put like an extra dollar or just track Angel Reese. She tends to get like 6 or 7 towards like halfway through the fourth quarter, and then she just goes ham in the final 3 minutes. So if you
Well,
have the ability to bet the over on her rebounds live late
yeah.
in the games, I highly recommend it.
100%, couldn't agree more. And then Drew mentioned this before, and other people have said it too. She gets a lot of me bounce, which is very true. If you watch her, if you ever watch her play, I mean, she misses a lot of bunnies around the hoop. But because she's athletic and bigger than most of the other girls or women, I should say, in the league, she's able to get her own rebounds. So she racks up a lot of boards, offensive boards, really on missed shots. A lot of those her own shots. But yeah, to your point, live betting her on boards is always a solid look.
Yeah. Any other looks for the W, maybe tonight or over the weekend that we can take a look at before moving on to soccer?
Nothing really tonight. I mean, the Dream are favored by 12.5. I don't like laying double digits in the W, so I'm probably gonna stay away from that. Mystics are 3-point dogs at home against the Wings. Mystics have been up and down. They tend to play better at home, so they're probably another one I want to stay away from. The Fever are 8-point favorites on the road at Portland, but Indiana at home is much better than they are on the road. So again, and then with this one being a cross country trip all the way to the far west coast in Portland, I don't want to stay away from that as well. So nothing really catches my eye tonight. I mean, looking at tomorrow's slate, there's a 1 p.m. Eastern tip where the Aces are heading to Chicago, taking on the Sky. That one's currently at 6.5 for the Aces. Something I'll probably look at, something that might catch my attention. Maybe end up making a final play on that tomorrow as well. The Liberty right now sitting at 2-point favorites against the Mercury. That one is probably going to end up being a play for me. I know the Mercury just beat the Valkyrie, but I'm still out on the Mercury. I don't think they're very good at all. So we'll probably happily lay the 2 points in that one. And then Sunday's a big slate. I'd have to dig into that one a little bit more. Just looking at the schedule here, Wings at home against the Sun should be a smash spot for them. Other than that, I'd really have to look into it a little bit more and get more of a better feel for it.
Looking forward. Also, looking forward to some of your premium plays today. If you're not following Prince's, sorry, what's it called? The Telegram.
Telegram. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the tournament. Yeah.
Oh, look. Yeah, and what's your record right now
Yeah,
on the
dude.
ASEAN tournament?
We're absolutely crushing it. We're 8-1-1 right now. And that's giving out 2 plays. There's two games today in the tournament, so we've bet on every single game, and we're 8-1-1 right now, sitting at a 90% undefeated rate. So absolutely crushing it right now.
Well done, my friend. All right, let's get into soccer. We have MLS over the weekend. I don't necessarily have any real projections for this, but I got a preview of your plays watching your premium channel over there. So I'm excited to get into it. What do you got?
Yeah, so first we do have a match today that I'm going to be covering here real quick. We're looking at the Scottish Premier League is kicking off. One of the few, I wouldn't call it a major league, but a secondary league is what I'd call it here. Kicking off earlier than most of the other ones. But we've got the Rangers, of course, Glasgow Rangers, everyone knows them. Going to be heading to Dundee United in this one. 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. I like goals in this one. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, and you're going to get that at minus 120. Looking at Rangers and Dundee United, their head-to-head has seen this hit in 5 straight matchups between these two teams. And also looking at Rangers, it has hit in their last 8 league matches, has both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. So I think with Rangers being on the road in this one to open the season at Dundee, I think Dundee is likely to probably get a goal this one. I would favor Rangers on the side here, but I'll stay away from that and just look for goals. So it's gonna be both teams to score over 2.5 goals. We'll follow the trends here, and we're gonna get that at minus 120. Before I get to my MLS plays, Stern, any thoughts for you on that one?
Nope, but I'm very much on board. Let's do it. I actually accidentally bet
Awesome.
this twice, so I really hope this
I
goes
love when you do
through.
that. Only when we win, I love when you do that. All right, and then
That's what they all say.
yeah, right. Yeah, right. Now it goes. Yeah, and then looking at tomorrow's slate in the MLS, of course, we got another full 15-game slate, massive slate in Major League Soccer tomorrow. But I will tell you guys right now, there is a lot of tricky matchups tomorrow. So probably gonna be one of my lighter betting MLS days, just because there's just a lot of matchups with teams that are kind of inconsistent, teams that are overperforming against teams that are underperforming. You don't know which team is the real team. You've got a lot of roster changes. You've got managerial changes. So lots of games you might want to just, if you're going to bet it, bet lightly, but otherwise maybe stay away games. But two that I do like here, pretty much in terms of all the plays here. The one I'm looking at is going to be the Red Bull taking on Orlando City, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick. I love Orlando City here, team total over 1.5 goals. Comes in at minus 120. The Red Bull, they have conceded 5 goals in their first 2 games since coming back from the break. And traditionally this season, they've been one of the worst defensive teams in the MLS. So a very young team are the Red Bull, and they're very inconsistent in that way. Orlando, of course, they ride their offense very much so, especially now with the addition of Antoine Griezmann, of course, the French legend, formerly of Atletico Madrid, now with the Orlando City here. And I think he could be in for a goal. If you want to look for an anytime goal scorer, I'd look at him. But with him, Martin Ojeda, this Orlando offense is pretty potent. Really surprised we're getting such a great value, minus 120. I think we got that over on FanDuel or BetMGM. I'd have to double check your books, or check one of those apps that tells you where to find the best price, like Picket or something like that. But anyway, looking at Orlando City team total over 1.5 goals, and it comes in at minus 120. Then the other play that I like a lot here in the MLS is going to be another 7:30 p.m. Eastern kick. Inter Miami is going to be hosting the Columbus Crew. Uh, I'm going to fade Miami in this one. Miami, there's just too much roster turnover right now with them. They got more injuries now that they're dealing with. Of course, Berterame most likely not going to be playing. Allende not going to be playing. They've got a couple more injuries that they suffered from last week. Not to mention no Messi, no Rodrigo De Paul. At some point, the injuries and the lineup omissions start to catch up with you. No MLS team is that deep to be able to withstand all that. Not even into Miami. So I think they've kind of, they squeaked by Montreal last week with a late penalty. In my opinion, they should have lost the Chicago Fire in the first game back from the break. So I think the Fire kind of blew that one. So really, Inter Miami has been relatively, I don't want to say lucky, but they've kind of been a little bit fortunate winning their first 2 games back from the break. I think it might catch up with them here in this one against Columbus Crew, who are riding off of a high, coming off of the victory in the Hell is Real rivalry against Cincinnati last week. So you could see a motivated, inspired Columbus Crew team here. Maybe take advantage of a weakened Inter Miami side. The play that I'm landing on here is going to be Columbus Crew +1 on the Asian spread. You're going to get that at plus money here, plus 110. I think that's outstanding value here. If we're just looking for them to avoid a defeat, we'll cash this out. And we're getting a goal spread here. So even if they lose by a goal, we'll still get our money back. And getting that plus money, that was something I just couldn't pass up. So Inter Miami, Columbus Crew, give me the Columbus Crew +1 at plus 110.
Yeah, and by the way, I think I saw this line at plus 170 over on the score. So definitely shop the lines there. I was surprised that it was so high. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I am very much on board with the added extra value. Just gonna put it out there. All right. Anything else in the world of soccer? I mean, I know that there's a lot of leagues going off this weekend. We are back from international break. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the EPL, La Liga, and maybe like a few other main European leagues are still waiting to start, but like everything else is back, right?
Yeah, they're starting to trickle in here. Like I said, a lot of your secondary leagues, like your Swiss Pro League is back. Like I said, the Scottish Premier League is back. So some of your, your second slash third tier leagues are starting to come back, but the big dogs, that's still another couple weeks away. Usually about the middle of August is when you start seeing the English Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, all those leagues start to come back here. So we're a couple of weeks away still from those, but they're starting to trickle in and starting to gear up again towards the full European season.
Can I steal another bet from you? It doesn't have to be an official play, but you gave it out a few weeks ago, and I really like the value. I think it used a DK boost, and it was European future. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure. Which one? Which one was it though? I think I know which one you're talking
Uh-oh.
about.
I only
Okay.
have one, so if there's two, please give them to me.
Okay. I don't know if I gave this one out. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But I know I am kind of on Real Madrid to win La Liga. That was a play that I've been looking at. That's a play that I was looking to bet at some point. And I was also looking at another one. I think the one you're talking about is Chelsea to be in the top four of the EPL. I think that's the one
Was
that
it
I
Chelsea
posted.
or Liverpool?
No, it was Chelsea. Definitely Chelsea.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Chelsea. Okay, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was to be in the top four. Yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
plus 125.
Yep. Because I'm big on Chelsea this year. I think they did really good in the transaction window. I think they've boosted their roster pretty significantly. So I think, look, Liverpool's a little bit in flux right now. Manchester United, a lot of people are high on them, but you got to see it to believe it. So I think Chelsea has every chance to finish in the top four of the EPL. I'm pretty high on them. So getting them at plus money, I like that value a lot. And yeah, that was a play I gave out a few weeks ago in the Telegram VIP.
Yeah, I was just looking at it, some futures, and I noticed that I had bet that with you, and I was like, oh, that's a really good play. I really like that. And now I'm going to go bet Real Madrid to win La Liga at plus 125, which is a pretty nice play considering that it's a two-man race,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's them in Barcelona, but again, I like the business that Real Madrid have done in the off season. Barcelona, look, they play that high line, which is always going to make them susceptible to win or lose any match when you play that way. And I like the vibes here with Real Madrid. I think Kylian Mbappe, he left last season on a sour note. A lot of the fans were kind of against him and kind of almost blaming him for some of the failures that Real Madrid had, but I think coming off an excellent World Cup, he's going to be rejuvenated and remotivated, and I think the Real Madrid fan support will back him once again. And I really like their chances to win it all here in La Liga. I do think they're the best team in La Liga.
All right, awesome. Also, I just wanted to go back to one of your points in the English Premier League. I feel like Manchester United every single year. To be fair, I feel like last year they were actually pretty good, but every single year there's a ton of hype over the last 10 years essentially with this team, and they're not necessarily as good as everyone expects them to be. Is it just their historical significance that people are really just on them?
So it's interesting you say that because, in my opinion, they are the Dallas Cowboys of the EPL. You're talking about a team that has a lot of hype, a lot of history, right? They kind of lean back on the years from the past, right? And Sir Alex Ferguson and all the success that they've had years prior, but recently. They haven't. They haven't had that success, so they're kind of falling back on the histrionics and the prestigeness of the club, and hoping that at some point will allow them to get better players, which will in turn allow them to compete for EPL titles. This season, I do think they're going to be better. They did make some significant moves in their transfer window. They did get a lot better in the offseason. So I do think they're going to be a contender for the EPL this season. Of course, Arsenal is the front runner right now, defending champions. They're linked with Vinicius Jr., which look out if they get him. I'm not sure if that fits personally. I'd like to hear Brad Betts' analysis on that, as he's more of an Arsenal insider. But in any case, anytime you can get a player of his quality, I think you have to go for it. So we'll see what happens with that. That would absolutely bolster their offense if they're able to get him. But yeah, Arsenal's the favorite right now. But apart from that, I mean, I think it could be three, four, five team race for the top four. And I think Manchester United is in that. I'm a little bit out on City. Of course, Pep Guardiola left. There's rumors that Rodri from Man City, the center midfield, is likely to be joining Real Madrid. So you got a lot of moving parts. So who knows how long Haaland will be there? He might ask for a move here at some point. So I think the arrow is pointing down on Manchester City. And so if you're looking for teams to kind of replace City in the top four, I would look at Manchester United, Chelsea, maybe Liverpool, and then Arsenal. Those are probably your top four. Just looking at it here briefly, but yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting and exciting season in the EPL.
Yeah, speaking of Liverpool, I actually have them rated pretty high this season. Definitely going to do some more research, but they're an interesting team to me. And I think that the success from last year they can build on, right? Like they did fairly
Yeah.
well. Their defense was fantastic. It really was just a question of keeping up, right?
Yep. They've absolutely done great business as well in the offseason. They just I don't know if this is official yet, but the French superstar Bradley Barcola, currently of PSG, he has made it very vocal and very clear that he wants to be on Liverpool. He's looking for a transfer to join Liverpool. So if they can get him, that's absolutely going to give them an explosive player on the wing, someone who will definitely help them offensively and put in some goals. So if they're able to get him, that's going to be a huge addition. But in any case, yeah, they've done some great business, and I think Liverpool is definitely going to be a contender. And to your point, ride the momentum of last season. Of course, they're losing Mo Salah, but in my opinion, I think Mo Salah is past his prime. So I don't know if that's necessarily a huge loss. You probably lose some leadership with him, but other than that, productivity-wise, they're probably better off with somebody a little bit younger, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more fresher in their career than he is. And he's linked either to MLS, Saudi League, or Turkish League is Mo Salah. So we'll see what happens with him. But
I
yeah,
cannot wait for the hate mail to hit you from that comment right there. I'm just going to repost this just so that you get a just ton of messages.
Sorry. Hey, that's how I feel, man. What am I? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. So, yeah, Drew, what's up?
Correction. He's not past his prime. Prime is past Salah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the
So-
things he
Salah
doesn't
decides
pass
when he's
things.
past his prime.
All this, I gotcha. Oh, very good. Okay, thanks for the correction.
I had to make a dad joke.
Yeah, nice. I love it. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see with him. But in any case, yeah, to your point, I think the arrow's pointing up for Liverpool. You'll never walk alone.
Okay, one last question in the EPL, if that's cool with you.
Of course.
What's the deal with Tottenham? Now, they avoided relegation, right? Barely, skin of their teeth. I guess that was more of a question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yep, skin of their
Right.
teeth, barely. All the way, took them all the way to the last game of the season to finally confirm. Mhm.
Did they do anything on the offseason for their midfield? Is there any reason to think that they're going to do better this year? Or do you fully expect them to be bottom of the table once again?
I can't imagine them being bottom of the table again. They just have too much talent. I think it was just a lot of things that just went wrong last season. I think they had some bad apples in the team, to be honest with you. Some locker room guys that maybe weren't locker room guys, right? Some viruses in the locker room, if you will. I think the coaching situation was a mess. I would expect a bounce back from them. Not anywhere near contending for the title, but maybe the mid-table type of team for Tottenham. I can't imagine that they're going to have the type of season that they had last year. That's just a one-off. I mean, even with the talent that they had last season, there's no way they should have been that far down the bottom of the table. And they too have gotten a little bit better this offseason. Like I said, they've gotten rid of some of those bad cells, if you will, that were kind of infecting the locker room. So I think with a renewed energy, some younger guys in there, a fresh approach, I think Tottenham should be primed for somewhat of a bounce back. And I don't see them battling for relegation this season.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do have them ranked 9th in my preseason rankings right now. I don't know how accurate that is.
Yep.
I just started with this, so like I'm still getting used to it and figuring out where everyone lives, but
Right.
sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yep, about mid-table, anywhere from 9 to 13, I would say. Is probably where I would see Tottenham finishing up the season. So, yeah, I think they're in for a bounce back. I think that was just a one-off last season, but thankfully for them, they were able to avoid what could have been the one of the most disastrous catastrophes in European soccer.
I bet they're going, hey, can we get rid of this relegation stuff now?
Yeah, yeah, they probably want to join the MLS, where you don't have to worry about relegation. Just play over here, and you can have a bad season, and nobody cares.
All right. Thank you, Prince, for going through that. I deeply appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to a great season ahead and hopefully some really cool and yum picks that are edge specific. All right, let's get to the UFC unless you have anything else on the soccer slate today.
No, no, nothing else for me.
All right, Drew, I'm gonna bring you in again. Do you have any thoughts on Serbia, UFC Fight Night in Serbia? Now, this is also, Danny Brasco over on the Early Edge calls it coffee and violence, or early morning coffee and violence, something like that. But I love it. I absolutely love waking up 9 o'clock on a Saturday, being able to watch UFC. Obviously depending on family stuff. We got an awesome one last week. We were very profitable, had a great week. Any thoughts on this weekend's matchup?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. And something I like UFC does, the non-political portion, I know the UFC fighters are upset about the pay and stuff, but something they do is usually when they have a type, like they have something in a different country or something like that, they usually have those ethnicity of fighters. So that's always cool to see. So they get to go in front of the home crowd and stuff. But one of the ones I was looking at was for the main event was Rakic and I'm sorry if I butcher these names, but I pronounce it best I can. But Rakic and Tybura, the fight not to go the distance. Both fighters are kind of like heavy hitters, and I of this fight not go the distance. Rakic is of course like the heavy favorite, but when you look at this overall, it's just I don't see a way that this fight does go the distance. So it's just simple as that. I just like the value on this.
All right, and who was that again? Sorry.
I think it's Rakic and Tybura. I think Tybura. I don't know how to pronounce his. I think it's Tybura.
Yeah, I don't mind the fight to not go the distance. I have value here on Tybura. This is a very interesting fight, actually. Rakic is stepping up to heavyweight. He is trying to eliminate the weight cut, which he hopes will give him more energy. And then Tybura is really a grappling pro, and he will struggle, I think, to take down Rakic, who has an 85% takedown defense. But going up a weight level takes some time to adjust. And if Tybura is able to attack early, he will be able to offset Rakic's volume and speed advantage here. I don't know. Rakic also is coming off 4 straight losses. He has a severe KO liability. I don't know. I took the value on the underdog, but I can very much see there's just too much vulnerability. And when you have a KO vulnerability and you're going up a weight class, I don't think that spells great things for you. If you couldn't handle the light heavyweight division power, how are you going to handle the heavyweight division power? Even though he's facing a grappler who typically doesn't strike with that much power, but he's still a heavyweight. I don't get the line, but yeah, I think the under is probably very much in play.
There's a stat. I found the stat I was looking for. I had it written down, but I couldn't find where I put it, and that's in my notes. But yeah, Tybura's 5 of his last 7 fights has ended inside the distance, and 3 out of the last 4 for Rakic has ended within the distance. That's something I also like to look at too. It's kind of like what you said in a way is there's some weaknesses on both sides, but other sides' strengths are, in that regards. And I'll be rooting for someone to get knocked out or submitted. It's just this is one of those things where I don't think we'll see anybody not be the aggressor because both these fighters aren't really conservative fighters. They just go in there. That could be a bad thing and a good thing.
Yeah, if Rakic's takedown defense holds up, this fight will be fought on the feet, which definitely leads to an early KO for sure. That's going to be something to look out for if he's able to get taken down. And I would take that look. If he is able to keep his footing, definitely bet the under. If he cannot keep his footing and there's a grappling match, the time might just slip away. I am going to go on another fight. Milos Jenkic, sorry if I butcher that name, versus Noah Gugnon. Now, this is really kind of a coin flip of a matchup, right? No one really has the advantage. Both of these fighters bring finish rates. I think something like 85% between the two of them. But they're facing each other to a point where I think that they both have the defense and cardio. And I don't think they're going to want to get knocked out early in here. I see a slower developing fight here. Sure, there's a lot of volatility, but I'm pretty sure, and we've seen this over the last few weeks, so I do have some data to back this up. I think that the over 1.5 rounds at -130 offers really solid edge here. I don't think people are going to be expecting it. I think we're getting a gift of a line. Again, in terms of who wins this, it's probably a toss-up, but I'm seeing a 52% decision probability, and you're going to give me an over 1.5 rounds at -130 is just way too much value to pass up. Again, I think looking at their underlying metrics, they're both defensively sound. They both have the cardio. They both are going to be able to grapple to a certain degree. And I think that this really does tend to lead to a match where the time just slips away. Drew, any thoughts on this fight in particular?
Yeah, I was with you originally. It was kind of a toss-up, so I'm just going to tell what you have and that, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I like what you said there. It's one of those things where it's just hard to necessarily pick a side with this.
Yeah, and I've typically done pretty well in my over-under rounds. Over rounds lately, but that's really just because that's really where the value has been lying. A lot of people are getting excited in the public for early finishes, which is no doubt a lot of fun. But the probability of an early finish is not that high, especially when you're talking about fighters from foreign countries who are really just trying to get their footing. I don't think anybody wants to necessarily just end the fight in the first 3 minutes. Yeah, definitely in bigger cards, I think that's something more to look out for. On the smaller cards like these, I think typically what you see is more even matches, and when the even matches happen, the rounds tend to go over. All right, we talked UFC, we talked WNBA, MLB, soccer, everything.
Oh, I will say,
right. Yeah.
One more thing real quick. A lean I had was the Medez-Rodriguez fight to start round 2. I think that could be kind of like a sneaky pick. The reason why is because, of course, we've seen with Medez, when it comes to him, a lot of his fights have finished in the first round, but Daniel Rodriguez, as we know, his fights have always been going very long. 12 of his 15 US fights and 7 of his last 8 US fights, to where at least round 2 has started. So that's a sneaky pick in that way. But besides that, though, I do have an NFL thing to do.
All right, yeah, let's get into the NFL. Just speaking quickly on the Sterling. No, sorry, not the Sterling Blachowicz. We were talking about Rodriguez Medic. Yeah, you can also get the over 1.5 rounds at +170, which is where I took it. So I'm very much on board with you. That is the main card, so I will be putting out that article later today, ideally. But this is a very interesting fight. Something to just note. Medic has a 100% finishing rate in 13 victories, 11 by knockout, 10 in the first round. But Daniel Rodriguez is the exact opposite. He's a 39-year-old veteran, and he tends to overwhelm from a volume boxing standpoint. He has an incredible 7.2 strikes landed per minute. So this is just going to be interesting. It's going to be sweaty, but the over 1.5 or to get into the round 2 is definitely value, especially if you're getting +170, +200 or more. So yeah, I'm actually very much in lockstep on that play. All right, let's get into the NFL. What do you got for us today, man?
So it's more of an update with all the stuff with my Niners. Have been dealing with the Shanahan stuff and the Ayuk stuff. There was a bright side thing, and I kind of I liked it. But Debo Samuel, as of last night, signed back with the 49ers to a one-year deal, and he was doing nothing but praising them. So I know he's not the receiver he used to be, but I think he'll be more productive than he was before they left, and I think this will benefit us a lot since Ricky Pearsall looks like he'll be out for a year, and this is Debo Samuel thing, and he knows the offense. I think they may use him more to relieve off McCaffrey, and I think Brock Purdy and them will be glad to have him back, especially when he's going to be paired with Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and our new rookie Deshaun Stripling. And he seems more motivated. He lost more weight, so I'm excited that for the Niners perspective. I don't know if you guys had thoughts on the Niners signing back Debo.
I mean, listen, Debo is Debo. He is a dynamic player who can play in almost any role. In the Kyle Shanahan offense, he excels. They understand that getting Debo with the low center of gravity that he has is paramount to victory. And yeah, he is one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. We didn't really see it necessarily last year, but I think that we're going to see it in the Shanahan offense once again. I think that's a great look.
Love to hear it.
Prince, any thoughts on 49ers this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's probably a good reunion for him to go back to the 49ers, but I just wonder, I have a little skepticism in it, to be honest with you. Because I just wonder at this stage of his career if he's able to carry the load that he was asked to carry in that offense. If you guys remember, of course, he's that they use him a lot as a tailback and a lot of end arounds, and he put his body through a lot of abuse in that Shanahan offense. And I just wonder at this stage of his career if he's going to be as effective with the way that Shanahan tends to want to use him. Little bit of concern for me in that, but we'll see if he can give anything close to what he was, and I think it'll be an addition. But I just wonder if he just has a little bit too much wear and tear on his body at this point to really make a difference on this team. But he is an outstanding athlete in his prime, so we'll see.
Run him till the wheels fall off. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. I think I think that's exactly what's going to happen, right? That's what they brought him there for. Let's be honest, he's not a finesse receiver. So, and again, we saw the way Shanahan wants to use him. I think that was part of the reason, if I'm not mistaken, Drew, you can correct me, but I think that's part of the reason why Debo kind of wanted out, because he was tired of the offensive scheme putting his body through all that it was putting him through, right? I mean, he was asked to do virtually everything offensively, not just with the ball, but of course, blocking schemes and all that. Like he was asked to be a very, very physical receiver, which he can be, but over the course of time, it's going to wear your body down. And I, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that was like part of the dispute as to why he kind of wanted to leave to begin with. So a little curious to see that he went back. I mean, he's going right back into the situation. But again, we'll see if he has any tread left on the tires. And to your point, I think they're absolutely going to ride him until the wheels fall off.
No, I definitely get your skepticism.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, I get his skepticism with that. And those are all valid points with what can we get from him? And I think what the Niners need to do, and the key is, and of course, I'm not one, by the way, I'm not saying what Shanahan and all the stuff should do. Is just my suggestion. Shanahan is an all-time great coach, so what I'm thinking that they're going to do, and I think they should, is kind of use him as more of a utility guy and use him as kind of like a third receiver. He's a great run blocker. He always has been. And use him as somebody that can get stressed. Like if you need extra yards, something he always has is still around for the catch, may not have the same speed, but he can bully people and, extra yards. That's with Mike Evans. They can take the top off. Use him as a compliment more so than a workhorse. But I think also, Debo, he's willing to probably end his career here. And when it comes to the playoffs, if we do make it to the playoffs, he probably wants to be like, hey, you can use me all you want, I'll get everything I get in the tank. And of course, one of the reasons why he did leave was he believed that he should be paid like both, and which I understand. And then when he left, he realized that he did decent, of course, for fantasy and stuff with the Commanders. But when I've noticed when people leave the Niners and they come back to the Niners, it's like, oh, they wish they didn't leave. Because we saw with Greenlaw, he left for 1 year and he came back in that regards to where they love this organization, stuff like that. And that's a good thing as a fan, knowing that organization treats players well.
Yeah, they never seem to have the same success, right? When they leave the 49ers. I think that's a lot of credit to Shanahan, of course, as well, with his offensive scheme. I think he gets the most out of wide receivers. And to your point, usually when they leave the Bay Area, they do more often than not tend to struggle. And maybe the pasture is not always greener on the other side, right? Is that the phrase?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Prince. And you can see Shanahan's genius when players go from their team and they don't do as well. The greatest thing that I think the 49ers did for Debo was bringing in Brandon Ayuk, taking the pressure off the deep ball, and then being able to let Debo play the short and middle was phenomenal for the offensive structure of being able to literally pass on every single level. Like, they were able to go deep, they were able to go short, they were able to go medium, they were able to run it, short screens. They were able to do it all because you never knew where they were going to attack you. The problem that I kind of saw with Washington was they just didn't have anyone around him. Jane Daniels missed 10 games last season. Terry McLaurin missed 6-7 games. They just weren't a functional offense. And what ended up happening was they just kind of tried to do screens and short plays because they didn't trust their quarterback so much. And they wanted to use Debo Samuels as much as possible. But what ended up happening was he was just stuffed at the line of scrimmage. There wasn't a lot for him to do. And I think you're right, it took a lot of wear and tear on him. Going back to Shanahan, I think that opens up the book a little bit for him, putting a lot less pressure on him to be the only functional offensive piece. And when he's in that role, then he can really shine because the pressure is off. The defense is looking at other people. And I think he's really going to do well this season. I have very high hopes for him. I do think that he's going to do well. Sorry, Addison, you requested to speak. I don't know if you're still on. Do you have any questions or thoughts? Might have took you off automatically, so I apologize. But if you do want to talk, please feel free to request. We always appreciate your thoughts. All right, anything else in the NFL today, Prince?
Nope, not yet. Nothing for me yet.
Drew, any non-49er related news?
Hey, asking the wrong person. I'm just kidding. No, but I've been praying every day. I'll be honest, guys, that Aaron Donald doesn't come back. So that's my only thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to look out for sure. Prince, any question of the day that you have for us today?
Yeah, actually, I do have one here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, all right, we'll get another coaching question here. Would you rather coach a college team or a professional team? Stern, you go first.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I feel like you have more longevity in college, a lot less prestigious, but a lot more control. As opposed to the NFL, where unless you're in the top 15, 20%, it feels like you can't hold on to your job for very long. I guess I would say college.
I would agree.
I think, yeah, you are the man in college. There is nobody who can talk to you. You are the top dog. You are doing the recruiting. To be fair, it's a different job. In the NFL, I think it's a lot more focused. In college, I feel like you're asked to do a lot of different things. So I think there's but that absolute power, I mean, that's pretty attractive, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think I'm with you. I look at it more from like the standpoint of coachability, right? I think the kids, you can mold them easier. They're more willing to listen to you, right? Because there's a structure in place where the coach is the final word. Whereas in the pros, the players seem to have a little bit more control than the coaches at times, and especially if you got a veteran who's been in the league for 10+ years or something. He's gonna look at you like, who are you to tell me what to do, right? You might get that, right? You get those kind of divas in the pros that you don't necessarily get in college. Yeah, every now and then you'll get them, but not as frequently as you do in the pros. So I think coaching college, I don't want to say it's easier, but it's more. I think you get more out of it, right? I think you make more of an impact, I would say, in terms of developing players and just really creating a culture. I think it's a little bit more difficult in the pros. So in that aspect, I'd probably agree with you and say I'd rather coach college if I were going to do between the two. Drew, what about you? What do you think?
All right, this is right up my alley. I'm going to say that as of right, I would say, yeah, I would agree with you as of 5 years ago, but now college is more difficult than ever, in my opinion, and coaching. Not just because, well, the thing about college is one, you'd have to, of course, go to a good organization, describe the organization, but recruiting is year round. You know, you have to travel, go to prospects and all that. But the NIL has been way more difficult, along with the transfer portal and stuff. And these coaches now will have a new roster every year, and that's just very difficult. That's why, like, Nick Saban decided to leave. He was like sick of this. You see Dabo struggling kind of like with this. Dabo Swinney is a great example. And then certain, like, Bill Self is somehow still doing it in Kansas because Kansas is Kansas. But it's just the turnaround, the NIL money. These kids are getting more entitled, and you know, you're trying to mold the kids, but these kids are getting these like massive NIL deals and not really doing it for the love of the game as much. Right? I feel like nowadays it's so much harder to coach college sports than it was in the past. Of course, for pros, you know, you're dealing with grown men, right? So it's hard to get their attention. But happening to college right now, which I think they need to revamp the transfer portal in a way. I'm over them getting paid, but the amount of like transferring is not teaching these kids, I think, the right thing for they can transfer as much as they want.
They're definitely going to have to do something with the transfer portal. I mean, it's just the wild, wild west right now. I don't know what type of rules they set forth or whatever, but I have a feeling that it's coming very, very soon. Something else to note, I don't think college is as structured in terms of the professionality of a lot of the players. I feel like as a college coach, you're probably having to guide them personally, you know, motivation, maturity. There's a lot of stuff that goes there. And I think in the NFL, you're right. You're definitely dealing with some big egos that can definitely mess things up. AJ Brown, a few other people. But I think overall,
Terrell
like,
Owens. Sorry, go ahead.
oh my gosh, yeah, Terrell Owens in Philadelphia during that time. That was wild. But overall, I feel like if you're in the NFL, you've made it, and there's a certain level of professionalism that's expected and required. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the trade-off is versus college, but I could definitely see it probably being a little bit more annoying on the college level, dealing with people who are going to frat parties, as opposed to people who are crashing their $2 million Lamborghinis.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because you look at some like former college coaches who tried in the NFL and they bailed, right? You look at who was it, Bobby Petrino? Am I getting that right?
Nick
Didn't he
Saban
left
was one of them.
The Atlanta Falcons, Nick Saban, right, for the Miami Dolphins, right? So I'd be interested to hear from somebody who's done Urban Meyer. Yeah, exactly, right? Crash and burn, right? All three of those guys really legendary college coaches and just absolutely bombed in the NFL. So you know, I'd be interested to hear from their point of view, somebody who's done it both and see, you know, what they think. But I think it's a fascinating question, something to ponder. Yeah.
I think this was a great question, and I think that those type of great coaches, the fact that they struggled in the NFL, just proves of how different of a job it is. It's a different subset of responsibilities.
Yeah,
it's a totally different story.
So much more respect. I got so much respect for people like Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh for doing both at the highest level.
I wonder if it's the different types of coaching styles, meaning someone who's really good at, you know, college level, you know, coaching, doing all the background work of recruiting and training and culture building versus people like Harbaugh who probably were a little bit more focused on the game plan. I wonder if there's a difference there, but I don't know enough to really speak about it myself. All right.
Yeah, I'll say this real quick. Yeah. I was going to say one more thing real quick that what you just mentioned. Jim Harbaugh, I'm going to say kind of what he did is we've never seen before. And that's one of those where it'd be interesting to talk to him about this question because he went to Stanford. He built Stanford, powerhouse, which we never thought would happen. And then he went to the Niners when they were terrible, went to multiple SEC championship games in the Super Bowl, and they went back to Michigan. I know they got caught for cheating, but the year they won it, they didn't. In case he won a championship there, and they went back to the Chargers. He led the Chargers, to the playoffs a couple times already when they weren't doing anything with Staley. So I think that would be a great person to interview and ask this question for.
100%. But just to point something out, they didn't get caught cheating, or they didn't cheat.
They cheated the year before. They won it all.
All right, let's get to our recap.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, yeah, talk to Tom Brady. Forever, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm a Giants fan. There's a lot of bad blood there. It's hard for me to accept that he's may be the greatest of all time. But that goes back to our yesterday or the day before question, where you said how much does championships really matter? All right, let's get to our recap today. We're on the hour. We have a great weekend ahead of us. We have so many sports starting. The next month or two is just going to be filled with different leagues, different sports all day long. I cannot wait. I am very excited. It's going to be a freaking awesome rest of the summer. All right, let's go. Drew, lead us off.
Outs today at -167, and then Rockage versus Tiber fight not to go the distance.
Absolutely love it. I am on in the MLB. Pirates money line -125 for a full unit. And then I also have a 2-leg parlay. Pirates Reds, Cardinals Blue Jays, no run first inning at +190 over on Caesars, half a unit. And then in the UFC, Jankic versus Gugnon over 1.5 rounds, -130, half a unit. Prince, close us out.
All right, guys, looking at the WNBA, we're looking at Angel Reese, 10+ rebounds with Caitlin Clark, 2+ threes. You're going to get that at -150 boosted on FanDuel. Looking on the pitch here in Europe, Scottish Premier League, give me Rangers, Dundee United, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -120. In Major League Soccer on Saturday, I'm going to be on Orlando City, team total over 1.5 goals at -120. And then give me the Columbus Crew taking on Inter Miami. I'll be on the Crew +1 on the Asian spread at +110. That's going to do it, guys, for the Friday edition of the OnlyBets Sports Podcast. Alongside Drew DeLucchi, Stern Bets, I'm the Prince of Picks. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Let's cash out these tickets. We'll be back again live on Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern at OnlyBets Podcast. Let's get this done, guys. Let's get these winnings. And we'll be back again to talk about it all and recap the weekend that was on Monday. Until then, guys, we will talk to you all soon. Excited to get into the nitty-gritty of the sports equinox here. Great summer coming up here as we're finishing the summer season. We're doing the rules later.